Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the brand new spoiler review of the brand new Disney Plus MCU show, Moon Knight. We're going to break down the entire episode, my favorite moments, some critiques, and just how much I actually am. Again, I'm on the very positive side of the spectrum with this show. Shockingly, very divisive. I mean, when I filmed the first episode, I thought I was going to be in the majority. Seems like it's pretty split, which I'll talk about before I get into my actual thoughts on episode 2. But if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do Moon Knight reviews every single Wednesday now until the show comes up. I currently do box office breakdown shows every single Monday. Also, other movie reviews, including Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which will be coming on Friday. TV show reviews, and movie rankings. Please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Comment down below. First of all, let me know, where do you stand on Moon Knight? First of all, are you Moon Knight comic book fan? Are you not liking the translation into the show? And is this the first time you're watching the character of Moon Knight? Are you enjoying the show? I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on that. Also, please like the video, guys. Thumbs up on. Also, if you're new to the channel, last week I did break down the episode 1 of Moon Knight. So if you want to catch up on my overall thoughts on episode 1, click back last week. I'll leave a video link at the end of the video as well, so you can watch my episode 1, then come back here and watch episode 2. Also, if you've not seen this episode of Moon Knight, please stay away. I want you guys to enjoy the show first, then come back and let's talk about this show. So let's get started. So as I said, before actually getting my episode 2 thoughts, I was shocked by how divisive Moon Knight was. It was a show that I was very excited for. And for me, especially these first 2 episodes have very much delivered. You have a spectacular lead performance with Oscar Isaac, which I think is even stronger here in episode 2. Ethan Hawke is also very good. The whole world itself is that it doesn't at times feel like it's connected to the MCU, which I think a lot of people have been asking for from the MCU characters for a long time. It feels like at times a lot of people complain that it feels like everything is just too connected. That's what I'm loving about this show so far, is that it doesn't feel like anything in the MCU has touched this. It feels very separate. And a new character, as I said, now my background on it, I think I said this in the video last week, is nothing about Moon Knight. I knew the DID disorder was a thing in the show with the character of Mark Spector in the comic books, but I'm not someone who read the Moon Knight comic books. I've heard rumblings of this being a thing for the last couple of years, but I know a lot of people who, I actually have heard both sides of this argument. There's a lot of people who live and die by the Moon Knight comics are not very happy with Moon Knight, the show. I think a lot of people who have never seen this character like me before are loving the show, which I find really captivating in audiences. Is that, again, I also want to say one thing. I'm not saying everyone who read the comic books hate the show or think it's bad. What I'm just saying is I think everyone, you can't just do a comic book copy and paste onto a TV show. And I do think that, yes, the show is definitely having Stephen Grant, at least the first 2 episodes. I feel like they're going to move away from this as the show moves on. Stephen Grant was the main character in the first 2 episodes, and he was clearly not the main person, as I've researched in the comic books. I think that took a lot of people off guard. I think a lot of things have taken people off guard. The fact that Ethan Hawke's playing a character who is super minor in the comics and is the villain of the show. I think a lot of people are going to get used to the show as it goes on. And once you start getting it out of your mind that this is not your direct adaptation, I think the show will have a lot better fruit for a lot of people. But for me, who's never read a Moon Knight comic, I'm loving and digging the vibe of the show. So let's get into my thoughts on episode 2. Episode 2 is basically Stephen giving himself up to Mark eventually. It's a bit battle. Stephen goes to the security cameras at the beginning of the episode after he thought it was a dream what happened in the last episode. And Mark really works him into thinking it's a dream every single time they switch bodies or switch personalities. But he sees that when he was running away from the jackal, there was no jackal there. And everything seemed to be in Stephen's mind. Then obviously you see Mark walking up to the camera. I love how, even though I know a lot of people are also complaining, like, why doesn't Mark and Stephen have any different factors? Well, DID is a real disorder. And when you change personalities, you can't just suddenly have a new haircut or anything like that. So I actually love the idea. I know it's a very fictional show about Egyptian gods, but keeping some of that a reality. That's what it was in Split. I always bring this up with DID because James McAvoy did a perfectly job in Split and Glass. Yeah, yes, he had different identities and different even genders of the people he was performing, but it still all looked like James McAvoy. And I think that for people who wanted a different thing. And I saw that in the comic books. I love that they're taking the DID disorder and putting that into reality, because that's what it really is for a lot of people. So Stephen Grant is still the main character, trying to figure things out. He goes to the bank and they're like, oh yeah, you're Mark Spector, we got you. He sees his bag, it's got marks on a passport, gun, money, and the Egyptian thing, which is a direct map to the temple of Ethan Hawke's avatar, which I find very fascinating. That's probably where we're going to go headed to throughout the series as we end the episode with them in Egypt. But Stephen does bump into Layla, who we find out Layla is still technically married to Mark. Well, Layla was the girl who called Stephen last week when Stephen found Mark's phone in the wall. And she still kind of thinks he's joking around, but I kind of loved the way the scene is shot in the apartment. One of the most quieter scenes of Moon Knight so far, but one of my favorite scenes of Moon Knight is Layla and Stephen's banter in Stephen's apartment. I think it's really well done, as they show her walking up to the fish tank, and it's Mark's reflection looking at her, two lovers who can't, come and meet together, and Stephen just kind of be there. The fact that Stephen's favorite book or poem, whatever it was, is her favorite thing, and you could really feel that Stephen has somewhat of a connection to Layla, but they have so much missing history, and that's where Mark fits in. And the fact that you can feel that is a real strength of the tremendous writing of the show. Brilliant scene. So then the police come in, who we thought were the police, and Stephen's like, yes, look, see, they're calling my name. I am Stephen Grant, to Layla. Layla leaves. She takes the the Egyptian thing. Sorry, I don't know. I forgot what they called it. Like the compass. I'll just say the compass. She leaves, and Mark basically the whole episode is like, you can't get her in danger, because as we learn, Kanju wants her to be the next, his next avatar. Kanju wants her to be the next avatar of him. So Mark wants her to be completely out of it. And that's why Mark separated himself from her, because he did not want her getting involved in this type of thing. So Mark gets captured. He's like, get me, help me out of here. And he finds out that he's basically trapped by Ethan Hawke, Harrow's people. And we learn that Harrow was the former avatar of Kanju, which makes it very fascinating, because every time Kanju would say something to Stephen, Harrow knows everything that Kanju is telling him, that he's justice, that he wants him to kill him. And they have this really deep philosophical, but it felt like a real conversation that, people would have today, which I know a lot of people will be taken off of guard by the actual conversation. Harrow saying the disease is like the same thing as a cure, getting like decapitate your leg or something, whatever he said about that, like it's necessary. And he talked about kids dying is necessary and all of these things. And, Stephen kind of has the logical answer, but it does feel like a real conversation that honestly I could see happening if I went to lunch somewhere. I found it very, very fascinating. And the performances were so good, because Ethan Hawke is playing this character really subtly. Every time that he walks, I feel a little bit off. When he kicked that soccer ball after seeing that, obviously he's walking on glass, and seeing him kick it and getting the sound effect. It's a disturbing, but it feels like a character that you could see anywhere in real life, how this type of guy would actually be a cult leader and people who would want to believe in his message. So they have this thing. He's like, you got to give me the thing. And Stephen's like, I'm not going to do it. And he can't say that, Layla has it. Layla's there. They kind of fight off. Harrow unleashes that cane. It's not just a cane for his fashion sense. It has very powerful weapon. When he picked it up, everyone was moving back. Unleashed another jackal, I believe. And then we got this chase with Stephen and Layla does not see it, but Stephen sees it. So I hope we keep getting more explanation on why Stephen is the only person seeing this. Maybe you have to be a true believer to see it, or have to be involved in the Egyptian lore to see it. I really am interested to see where they go with that. But then Stephen falls off, and he turns, and Mark's like, get your suit on. And he's like, suit me up, or whatever he said. And he turns into the Mr. Suit costume from the comics, which is one of my favorite superhero costumes I've seen in a long time. It's literally a buttoned up white suit. He's got that mummy-like shoes on, gloves, and the sick mask. It was a sick costume. that I could not take my eyes off of. We get the funniest scene of the entire show. So as Steven and Layla are trying to battle with this jackal, Layla can't even see it, trying to spray liquid on it to see it. And then Steven gets knocked over and Mark's like, just give up your body. You can't help the situation. He's like, yes, I can. He gets up, he starts like really funny banter with the jackal. He punches it. He's like, yes, I did. I took it down. And then he obviously gets slapped over. And Mark's like, that's enough. You clearly can't do this. Let me get the body. And Steven, after the whole episode saying, you hurt too many people, I'll never give up the body, gives up the body, turns into the full actual Moon Knight outfit, like completely kills that jackal. And then turns back into Mark, and now Steven for the first time is the outside in on this body. He's now talking to Mark, how we've seen Mark talk to Steven during the show. Mark's pissed off, and then Kanju's like, you think that you own this body? And he found that to be funny. And he's like, he does want Layla to be the next Avatar. And Mark's kind of like, we just got to go. I'll do whatever you want. What's next? And he's like, where are we going? He's like, you don't know where we're going? We get this amazing filmmaking shot to end the episode where you see the mirror, and we don't know who it is. It's actually Steven in the reflection on the bed with a towel over him. And then on the side and full, like in his underpants and laying on the side of the bed, we know that Mark is the one that is now taking over the body, and we see him pull over the cloth, and we are in Egypt. So I absolutely love this show. The first two episodes. This is so far my favorite first two episodes of an MCU show. I don't know how, I guess it's pretty divisive now saying that. MCU is doing some really good stuff, and this is definitely completely different from what they're doing right now. So I'm absolutely loving Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke. I also think Maya Calloway, who's now playing Layla, was amazing in the episode. F. Mary Abraham's doing a very good job with the voice, and I cannot wait to see what happens now that we are in Egypt. And it'll also be interesting to see how the show feels with Mark being the main character. I mean, Steven being the main character, Steven kind of getting used to everything is kind of like us as the people who are new to this character, also getting used to it. It'll be interesting to see that flip to when Mark becomes the main character and Steven's the voice inside of his head. Very fascinating to see where the show goes. 4 more episodes. It's only a 6-episode show. And I love that it's weekly. I love talking about this with you guys every single week. So that's my thoughts on Moon Knight. I'll be back the next 4 Wednesdays here on the channel, breaking down the new episodes of Moon Knight once they come out. So please, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, ring the bell. My upcoming videos, as I've already talked about, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 review will be on Friday. Box office breakdown show will be on Monday. Some point next week, I'm going to see Ambulance. Thursday of next week, you'll get my review of Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore. Also, I have 2 more episodes left of DMZ. I'm going to give you that review. At some point, Raised by Wolves. So there's a lot of reviews coming down the channel, so I've got to subscribe, ring that bell to notify when these videos drop. Or which side are you on the Moon Knight? Did you love the comic books, love the show, hate the show? Love to hear all your different thoughts. Let's have a fun conversation. No one is the right opinion. Just film and TV shows are subjective. Let's have that fun conversation here on this channel. Like the video, and I'll see you guys soon.